Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
For a while, Ridgecrest was known as the earthquake capital of the world.
Take a look at where it used to be.
It's hard for the world to know what we've been through because by the grace of God, we've had no casualties and we've only had minor injuries.
California is committed to rebuilding.
We will do whatever is necessary to make sure this community is rebuilt.
I know we have heroes in this community.
Doing it for the people, we're doing it for the good cause.
And good morning. Good to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen.
And I'm Alex Fisher. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of 17 News at Sunrise, live from Ridgecrest as the community here continues to reel after that magnitude 7.1 earthquake on Friday, and a lot of people still on edge as they continue to feel more shaking.
Absolutely. We've just felt some aftershocks this morning as we were arriving to town. We want to kind of give you an idea of where we are. We're just off China Lake Boulevard in the parking lot of the Stater Brothers. You can see behind us here big lots. We have Joann Fabrics and a Marshall's behind us. We kind of drove through this parking lot earlier, taking a look inside. We saw a lot of people inside of Stater Brothers working on putting things back on shelves and cleaning up piles of trash and debris that had been picked up in those various other stores. Yeah, but at the same time as we're driving through, we were still shocked to see how this community is already moving forward after that magnitude 7.1 earthquake. And you've heard from officials say that it's almost like a miracle that we did not see any fatalities or major injuries after that devastating earthquake, because we've seen some pretty incredible videos showing you how powerful it was. Absolutely. Let's take a look at that. This is why it's so incredible to see the little amount of damage that we are seeing, really in perspective of what the shaking was looking like during Friday's 7.1 magnitude. I believe we have some video to show you that of cars bouncing around during that shaking. The quake lasted for a good 20 to 30 seconds, but those who were in the middle of it say it actually felt much longer. And as we mentioned, the quaking continues this morning. We want to show you a look at our aftershock map and our earthquake map updating in real time. The circles you see in red are some of the aftershocks that we've seen in the past hour. Now, the circles in yellow and orange, those are the earthquakes that we've seen within the last 12 hours. So as you can see, that map still very active as we continue to feel a lot of those aftershocks. And we want to note there's also several small quakes closer to the San Andreas Fault yesterday, a magnitude 2.5 near San Bernardino and another magnitude 2.5 near Indio. And you can see those further south on that aftershock map we're looking at, as well as that orange dot up near Pinnacles, also along the San Andreas Fault, where a 2.6 quake hit yesterday. We're continuing to track all of these aftershocks as they could last weeks, months, even possibly years. Yeah, Dr. Lucy Jones kind of reminded us that during the Northridge earthquake that they saw in 1994, they saw years of aftershocks, including the last major aftershock, a 5.0 magnitude, 3 years after that earthquake. It's so interesting how they can track that and notice that it is part of the same series, but we've seen thousands in the past couple of days because of everything that's happened along the Garlock Fault, which is the fault we're talking about here. All right, and we are continuing team coverage of the earthquakes here in the Ridgecrest and Trona areas, and we want to send it over to 17's Aton Wallace. He was the first reporter on scene on Independence Day, and he's been here for several days now covering the damage and how residents are responding. Yeah, Aton, what does it look like there this morning?
Indeed, the town of Trona was hit pretty hard. It is only about 10 miles or so from the epicenter, so as you can imagine, there was some serious damage there. I want to show you some compelling video from when we were there last night. Take a look at this. We spotted cracks in homes, entire cinder block walls that had spilled over as if they were dominoes, and windows that had been boarded up. We caught up with Chris Gorlitz, who showed some of the damage of the outside of his home.
It's not severe, but this house is made out of solid concrete. Right here, it broke all the way through up and came all the way over right there, and you could see it went off that direction as well. We were very lucky to have as minimal damage as we had.
We also caught up with this group of people as they were enjoying the fresh air. Bob Huggins showed us these images of his house shortly after the earthquake. Items, as you see there, toppled over and glass was everywhere. And now concerns turn to the water situation. Important to note that Trona does not have access to clean, safe drinking water right now. Bottled water is the only option for residents at this point.
We're rationed for water. We're not supposed to, do nothing other than what we have, and we can't drink none of it. You know what I mean? We're supposed to not use it. And so, yeah, and they're saying by tomorrow morning it will be empty unless, they get things going, and they're working on it.
We also spoke with Andrew Ledesma, the 90-year-old, that's 90. He was born and raised in Trona and tells us he is the longest living person in the town. We asked him how this earthquake compares to those in the past.
We've had earthquakes before, but nothing like what we've had this time. We've had, I think it was 1961, we had the big one down in Los Angeles and Bakersfield area. That was bad. We could feel it here. And then I believe it was 91 we had a bad one here. But this one that we've had now, this is the first really, really big one. And it was, it shook everything. Did a lot of damage in the homes and whatnot. Everything came off the shelves, broken dishes, cups, and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So it was bad.
It's been 3 days of it.
KGET was the only crew there in Trona when employees with Senator Shannon Grove's office passed out 50 pizzas and water bottles. And as you keep on looking at video, we should also tell you that if you are headed to Trona or to Ridgecrest or vice versa, know that there are some cracks in the road along Highway 178. Construction crews remain on scene about halfway between Trona and Ridgecrest, where they are fixing some damaged pipes near the road. Now, a reminder to all Trona residents, if you need bottled water, they are handing them out at Trona High School. That is at Trona High School. I should also tell you that that there are going to be donations today coming in from the Red Cross to Trona. That is water specifically coming to Trona, trucks of them. And if you would like to make a donation and you are in the Ridgecrest area, you should know that I have a church here. The name is the Christian Fellowship Church in Trona. They are taking all sorts of donations from dog food to water to toiletries. And by the way, as I talk about dog food, a quick reminder that just as the water is not safe for drinking for humans in Trona, it is also not safe for animals. We're live here in Ridgecrest. Eitan Wallace, 17 News.
All right.
Thanks, Eitan.
And so many people came to a town hall meeting yesterday at the Kerr-McGee Center, including a lot of people from Trona, and it was a packed house. And when the town hall opened up for public comment, a local resident voiced her concerns about being able to get transportation to future meetings with officials. Here's how the Ridgecrest Chief of Police responded.
If it's something like that, and then I'll take you in my car. I don't care. Well, if not mine, then we will figure it out.
And there was a lot of humor actually at the town hall meeting too, just showing you how this community is coming together through this truly this huge disaster, but still, have a positive attitude and move forward.
And important to note also that the chief of police said yesterday that public transit should be back functioning today. So that is some good news for people wondering that same thing. And in the wake of these quakes, Kern County Fire continues to highlight 2 systems that you can use in case of emergencies, and they're right on your phone or your computer. One of them is called Smart 911. It lets you create a profile that first responders can use to know your basic information and your personal medical needs when they're coming to help. And you can register at smart911.com. The other is Ready Kern. We've heard a lot about that one, of course, over past emergencies in our county. That's our local alert system. And when you register, you'll be able to put down your contact information, which can be your email, your home address, or a phone number, so you can receive alerts on current disasters.
And many of you at home have been wondering how you can help out for the people of Ridgecrest. So many people asking, right away after that earthquake, even on Independence Day, how can we help out? We're getting a better understanding of how you can.
And they said, immediately they don't need donations because they needed to assess the damage, assess the needs first, and they didn't want to be inundated with things that they didn't know what to do with right away. So one of the best ways to do that is monetary donations and volunteer hours, actually.
Yeah, and the Kern County Community Foundation has actually set up a disaster relief fund. And the foundation is behind Give Big Kern, where the community rallies behind local nonprofits to raise money and volunteer hours. And this fund will be used to help people recover in the aftermath of those massive quakes. And you can go to kernfoundation.org and then click the Give Now link on the top right of the page. And then you can pick Kern County Earthquake Disaster Relief Fund. And you can also donate by check payable to Kern Community Foundation. You can also mail it or deliver it to 3300 Truxton Avenue, Suite 220.
And as always, there's the American Red Cross. Their volunteers have been here on the ground in Ridgecrest helping with the evacuation center and so many things that are needed by this community. And donating to the Red Cross is easy. You can text Red Cross to 90999 for a $10 donation, or you can go to redcross.org. And when I spoke to Cindy Hughey on Saturday, she said today there would be people in the office who would start calling those who had gone into the Red Cross and expressed that they wanted to come volunteer here. So if you would like to volunteer your time instead of your money, you can do that. Go to the redcross.org and you can go ahead and sign up there, and they'll contact you to help you get you in the system to volunteer here in Ridgecrest.
Because, again, officials said yesterday that they are now phasing out of the response phase and they're now going into the recovery phase. And so, and for a lot of people and a lot of businesses around here, it's going to take a while for them to recover. So that's why it's so important for those volunteers to help out.
Absolutely. I mean, we have seen some areas with extensive damage, and there's other areas that, you know, were largely undamaged by this earthquake, which is amazing, but still they need that help.
So, quake readiness, can't stress this enough. Make sure that you secure household items. Heavy breakable objects should be on lower shelves. Practice drop cover, then hold on with your family. Make a supply kit. This is something I didn't have totally. I had water, but make sure you have food and also the water I talked about, at least 3 days worth. Make sure you have a flashlight, fire extinguisher in the house. And one thing that I've made sure that I've had ready is a phone charger in case we lose power. Also, look into earthquake insurance. We're going to talk more about that later on throughout the morning. Know all the details of that. Make sure water heater is strapped to the wall and secure. Know where your gas shutoff valve is located, but never turn it off unless you smell gas or a line is broken. That's coming from PG&E. And I want to show you my home right now. Take a look at my water heater. You can see I've got the straps. So that's up to code. Very important. And then also know your gas shutoff valve. And you can see outside my house, it's straight up. And this is in the on position. One thing I found out, folks, is mine is actually seized. I actually have to have PG&E come out and unseize that little valve there, because if something were to happen, I could not shut it off right now. So that's something to keep in mind. And again, if you need help, call PG&E. Let's talk weather now. Switch to that hat. 71 degrees out there for us right now. The sun is coming up. We have a light wind out of the north-northeast at 6 miles per hour. We're at 69 degrees. Beautiful sunrise here in the Golden Hills. The sun coming up. And currently at 56. And you can see valley temperatures running in the 60s to lower 70s. We have 40s, 50s, and 60s into the mountains. Tehachapi at 57. And then around the region, we've got 50s and 60s all around the state. So a nice, comfortable morning for us. Not a lot happening. We've got sunny skies expected for the interior part of the state today as high pressure sits just offshore. We'll be watching for this system developing out to the north and west. Very little impact on us the next several days. As you can see here on our Futurecast model, we will see some rain in the Pacific Northwest, but for us, we will stay high and dry. In fact, we're going to warm things up. Air quality will be unhealthy for sensitive groups with an AQI at 101 today. And here's a look at our numbers. Bakersfield, 92. We'll see the same in Delano and McFarland. We're looking at 91 in Taft. And then for the mountains in the Kern River Valley, 74 in Fraser Park, 78 in Tehachapi, 80s to lower 90s into the Kern River Valley. Look for that west wind, 25 to 30. And then for the desert, we're looking a little breezy, a high of 89 in Mojave. Here's your extended forecast. 90s through Thursday, triple digits back on the board Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So there is a warm-up on the way. And then we take a look at the mountain forecast. And we'll be back into the 80s tomorrow, upper 80s as we approach that weekend. And then for the Kern River Valley, we're back into the 90s by, looks like, Tuesday. And then mid to upper 90s for the weekend. So a lot of information there. Tips on, the earthquake stuff, and then weather looking pretty nice until we get to the weekend. Then it starts to heat up a little bit.
I'm definitely thinking of those out in the Ridgecrest area. It's going to be warm, so.
Yeah, they're used to the heat, but when we put all these other components in it, probably even a little warmer, especially for those that are still struggling with power and ways to stay cool.
All right, welcome back out here live in Ridgecrest for this special edition of 17 News at Sunrise. 17's Karen Waugh has been in Ridgecrest for the past 4 days, reporting on the damage seen across homes and buildings in this town and in Trona nearby.
Yeah, but of course, on top of all the damage and that we've seen on structures and just around town, there's also the emotional toll that so many people are feeling across the Ridgecrest area, as tens of thousands of people are still on edge as they continue to feel the ground shake. And 17's Karen Waugh has more on how those people feel. Good morning, Karen.
That's right. It really brings a whole new meaning to the word aftershock. These people's lives, they've just been rattled. They're living on pins and needles, living on the edge in dis-ease, but they've been able to find support and comfort in each other.
PTSD is a real thing, and we're all suffering from it right now.
Amid the earthquakes, Ridgecrest has been the epicenter of emotional support.
When that happened, all of us started texting each other. Are you okay? We love each other.
It's such a tremendous relief to see and to know that people are out here helping us, to see these other fire trucks that aren't our local ones.
While there were no deaths and no major damage to structures,
we're hearing things from other people that it's like, oh, well, it's not that bad. You guys don't have a lot of physical, but do you understand that the emotional, that it strains you?
A community on edge.
We're barely getting any sleep because what do you do when it's sleeping and an earthquake happens and your family's lying around you, and what are you supposed to do?
Trisha Lawson and Irma Sanchez saw their families' lives flash before their eyes.
The 7.1, I wasn't even with my children, so it was even worse. I was currently at work. It's just so scary and nerve-wracking. This can happen.
So there was 10 to 15 minutes where I didn't know where my child was at. And that's the hardest part ever, not knowing.
Children who are also shaken to the core, like Sanchez's 9-year-old daughter, Melissa.
Every little rumble or shake, she runs straight to the door. She grabs her turtle, she heads out, her little backpack. She's been sleeping with her sandals on. She doesn't want to go to the restroom alone. She doesn't want to leave my sight.
Parents who now have to pick up the pieces.
Bam! And you have to deal with the aftermath, and you have to raise your family and just try to keep a smile on your face and, just keep going.
But they say, in a strange way, the seismic situation has brought them closer as a community.
Man, Mother Nature, we can't control it, and things are going to happen, and we got to just be strong.
Ridgecrest strong.
Hey, you guys are awesome back there! Yay!
Now, I do want to highlight some of the emotional support resources that will be available. Marley's Mutts, they've brought in therapy dogs. In addition, at the Kerr-McGee Community Center, the Red Cross Evacuation Center here in Ridgecrest, they're bringing in counselors and they're bringing in support groups over the next several days. In Ridgecrest Police, they are really urging and encouraging everyone in the community to just take advantage of these resources here. For now, live from Ridgecrest, Karen Waugh, 17 News.
And, for so many of those people, it's just absolutely heartbreaking to see what they're having to go through, especially the fear. And as we were just, as we just listened to Karen's package, we felt an aftershock here just moments ago. So this is what the community is going through right now.
And that was a very minor one compared to a lot of the aftershocks that they felt. And you listen to that mom who wasn't with her kids when the 7.1 hit. And I feel for her. And that's the thing. There's the physical damage is one thing, and it's the emotional trauma that people are really dealing with. Yeah. And actually, one place where you can get some care for that is at the evacuation center that was set up at the Kerr-McGee Community Center. Red Cross volunteers have been on hand there since Thursday. It's located at 100 West California Avenue here in Ridgecrest. You can bring your pets with you. They have crates on hand and supplies to care for your furry family members. They have hot meals. And again, they have people to talk to about that emotional damage that everyone's feeling right now.
It's really great to see how many resources are available to the people here in this community, because there's a lot that people need to utilize, and so what the good message is they have it here.